Here are a few notes you can see for my presentation so I can keep myself in order. And I wanted to say the internet is a treasure trove of mixed information. I think other people have said that. I'm not sure exactly who said it, but I feel that way about it also, that you can find a lot of things on the internet. Some of it's valuable and some of it's of questionable value. In a lot of ways it can be like panning for gold or sifting through a lot of information that's to find the most relevant information for what I am studying. And so there's a need for an efficient search method, because you could just find tons and tons of stuff that you would never ever be able to get through all of it. So it's important to get a strategy to be good with information literacy in everyday life, as well as when we're writing papers for school or reports for work or communicating important information to coworkers. And it's always important to, especially when you're writing a paper or for a business report, that you're using scholarly sources or peer-reviewed sources that are people we can recognize that we know that they know what they're talking about, and we avoid miscommunication and aim to accurately communicate our thoughts. Oral communication as well as written communication needs to give credit for sources and other ideas. Written material especially needs to have the use of quotation marks for direct quotes, accurate paraphrasing, and summary and proper citation, and not any kind of loose rearranging of words or no out of context. Or I've heard some people say on the news like that we may be a soundbite society, or we can have clips of information that can easily be taken out of context or misconstrued. And we want to stay within the boundaries of fair use for the information we are using. I can say more about that later. I thought that the Betsy DeVos article that we read was a good example that, for example, when using even government documents aren't copyrighted, but still they should be properly cited and either use quotation marks when they're direct quotes or proper paraphrasing, and given the citation that it did, that the information was gained from a government document. And I can use even my own topic about the Net Promoter Scores. Managers like to have nice, neat little compiled information that's easy to make sense of complex information that's been compiled together. And so that was the idea I started with for the Net Promoter Scores, and avoiding over-reliance on the information. And then some other things I was impressed with the materials that's been available to us to read or watch on the YouTube videos is like the Crash Course in Intellectual Property series. There's some programs that I have watched also. That one of my favorites is on This Week in Technology, is the This Week in Law program, where they advertise themselves as the intersection of law and technology. And so they do cover a lot about copyright and the problems, and also about that the Crash Course mentioned about patent trolls. And patent trolls are something that people or companies, that their sole purpose to exist is that they buy up a lot of patents or collect a lot of patents, and they really have no product or service, it seems like, other than to harass harass or sue other people. I think this can also happen with copyrighted material. Sometimes that's been covered on some of the programs also with This Week in Law, such as like episode 208 and some others. And it's been discussed many times about the DMCA Digital Media Copyright Act and other copyrights, other copyrighted material, that some people do not have pure motives in asking for take down notices or to stop people from using certain types of material, or they can even falsely claim it's theirs, their material, when it's actually not. When the motive of the person or group may be to harass someone that they don't like, or falsely sue or accuse somebody to get undue gain, which that may be a good point to make for copyright and patent reform also for those reasons. One on the episode 229, they had This Week in Law had Lee Cheng from Newegg, where some patent trolls had sued the Newegg computer supply company, and then had withdrawn their complaint, and so Newegg decided to sue them for harassing them and making the false claims that the patent trolls did. And actually, from what he said, that they had won in court, and that his purpose was to give patent trolls notice that some people just are not going to take this harassment. And I think that's all very interesting. As far as copyright law, I know it's been said also on the programs This Week in Law, and I think the Crash Course Intellectual Property series made a lot of good points also, that there are some gray areas in fair use. And I'm thinking of also like YouTube and Google. I've looked on the internet where they have their takedown notice forms, where people can send in forms and complaints if they think their copyrighted, the person or company's copyrighted material has been unfairly used or illegally used. That there should be a proper procedure for that, but like I mentioned before, not everyone's motives are pure. Sometimes it's to harass people or get undue gain. So I think I agree that there is legitimate need to be concerned about plagiarism and the incorrect use of others' material or stealing other people's material. There's also a concern for reform to keep those who are unfairly taking advantage of or harassing people. I just think the topic is very interesting, and a lot could be said about that, which they have in this Week in Law and many programs, and then, like I said, the impressive amount of information that was even on the Crash Course Intellectual Property things. That intellectual property is just a very, very complex topic, and I think this, what we've had to do with practice summarizing the chapters and practicing honing our citation skills, that's all been a very good thing.